Francis.
Martin.
First of all, welcome to Forever Ours Bar. I think it's your first time in here.
It's my first time in this bar, indeed.
That's
I think I was here in the previous incarnation.
Yeah, it's had a few incarnations over the years. So, you've written a book on the 1907-1908 season called Champagne Shenanigans.
Yes.
What inspired you to do this?
Well, about 30 years ago, in the matchday programme, there were some reproductions of some cigarette cards from that period, and the faces just kind of stuck in my head, and I had to wait 30 years to retire, but once I've retired, I wrote the book on those faces that I remember from the programme.
So, have you written books before? Do you want to tell us a little bit about your time? You've done one previous Rangers book.
Yeah, I've written a few novels under the pseudonym Guy Langdon. I was a practicing teacher at the time, they were a bit racy, so I had to change my name. But once I retired, I wrote my first book, thanks to Jerry Francis and the boys on QPR the 76. And because that went down quite well and people seemed to enjoy it, I thought I'd do this much older period.
Excellent. So, how did you go about researching the book? Because this is a rather long time ago.
Yeah, obviously there aren't too many people who can actually remember the 1907-08 season. So I was relying upon a number of stalwart QPR fans who lent us memorabilia and obviously the newspaper reports, no video footage unfortunately, but also a whole myriad of photographs from that period which I've managed hopefully to kind of put together.
So how did you source those photos? Because that's not easy also from that period.
Well, a few people lent me the official QPR handbooks from 1901 really all the way through to 1909, and obviously I also gleaned a few from press reports as well.
Right. So talking of press reports, I remember the days where you used to have to go to the British newspaper archive at Colin go through dusty old volumes, it took forever to do it, you've got your hands filthy doing it in newsprint. Yeah. Things have changed now. How did you go about doing your research in 2023?
Well, we're blessed now because there's a British newspaper archives website, and although you have to search quite vehemently to get through it, most of the match reports from that era are readily available. And the match reports, strangely, were a lot more detailed in those days because obviously there was no TV. So if you want to know what happened, you couldn't watch Sky, you had to read your local newspaper, be it the Gilbert Times, the Shepherd's Bush Gazette, there was a whole myriad of those.
Yeah. Excellent. So when you were researching this, were there any big surprises, anything that you hadn't expected to find out that you did?
One or two of the transfer stories were quite interesting. Our goalkeeper Charlie Shaw actually signed, but then denied to his home club that he actually had signed. And it was only when QPR sent a photograph to his Port Glasgow club, they realised that actually Charlie Shaw was now playing for two clubs. And Port Glasgow threatened to take us to the FA, but I think in the end it all just died down.
Probably would have been a bit dispute between the Scottish FA and the English FA.
Yeah, I don't think it would have got lost in the table.
Exactly. Any other nice stories that you discovered whilst you were researching it? Obviously, I don't want to take too much away from people reading the book, but any other gems?
It's still got up some anecdotes. I mean, this period is particularly important because during this season, Queen's Park Rangers had their first ever England international. We had Irish internationals before, but Evelyn Lintott, who studied to be a teacher in Plymouth and then wanted to find a teaching job in London as an amateur. Later I think approached him and in fact he travelled all the way to Leighton. So Queen's Park Rangers signed him on as an amateur. And unfortunately he couldn't play any week games because he was busy marking books, but he played every Saturday.
And being a former teacher, you would appreciate that.
Absolutely, it's very important.
Excellent. So, during that season, at the end of the season, I believe we actually applied for the Football League, and there's a story there. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
We applied to get into the Football League because this book covers a period when, along with Got it back? Yeah. We were in the Southern League along with Tottenham, Crystal Palace, Millwall, and having won the Southern League, we decided to apply to get into the Football League as champions and followers like the previous year. Spurs had finished 7th, and Spurs got on the Football League and we didn't.
Fair enough.
And I think if we had, then we might have the riches of the stadium that the Spurs have now.
And presumably the book goes into a lot more detail on that.
A lot more detail.
Excellent. Okay. So we mentioned Charlie Shaw, the goalkeeper, and you mentioned Evelyn Linton. Any other particular stars of the team, or more info on Shaw and Linton?
Well, there was a chap called Fred Pentland who played for us for one season before signing for Middlesbrough, and he went off to be a very successful manager in Spain. Nowadays, the Spanish tend to give us their managers, but in those days, England were thrashing everybody on an international basis, and he went over and managed Atletico Bilbao very successfully.
Yeah, and talking of managers, we had a Scottish manager that season, James Cowan.
James Cowan, not only was he a Scottish manager, he was our first ever manager. One or two stories about James Cowan. He famously turned up pissed once to play for Scotland, and that was the last game he ever played for Scotland. And on another occasion, he faked injury when playing for the great renowned Aston Villa, so he could go and run Powder Hall Run in Edinburgh, because he knew the prize money was far more than the earnings he was getting for Villa. So he lied about an injury, won the race, and made quite a lot of money in the bookies.
Very entrepreneurial. And at the end of that season, we played in the first Charity Shield. What was the story behind that?
Yes, there was a charity match at the end of every season called the Jura Trophy, but there was a bust-up between the FA and the AFA, because the match used to be between the best amateur team and the best professional team. That went on for about 10 years. But because of the bust-up between the FA and the AFA, that could no longer happen. So a new tournament was introduced whereby the winners of the Football League, who this year happened to be Manchester United, winning their first ever title, played the winners of the Southern League, which was Queen's Park Rangers, and we held them to a draw at Stamford Bridge.
And then a replay.
We don't talk so much about the replay, but we held them to a 1-0 draw in the first game at Stamford Bridge.
Excellent, excellent. Great. Francis, anything else you think that's important for people to know about the book?
I mean, 300 pages, 100 photographs, and it's been a labour of love really, and I'd like to thank all those Rangers fans who have come together with scans and photos and anecdotes to help me put it all together.
Excellent, and I'm sure if it's as good as the 75-6 book, it will be a great read.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Francis. Thank you.
Thank you.